Good evening, I'm John Carter and welcome to Poland Daily Business. Statistics from Eurostat show that Poland's retail industry is booming. Retail sales figures for November highlight a 4.7% annual increase, which is more than twice the rate of the average EU country. The positive numbers come in spite of the fact that shops are closed on most Sundays. However, internet shopping and the mail order sector were up 8% and appear to have boosted the market. The largest sales growth was in Slovenia at 10.7%, whilst France saw the worst results with just a 1% rise. It seems Poles are happiest holidaying in their own country. The southern mountain tourist resort Zakopane remains the country's most popular holiday destination. It's difficult to pin down just one particular reason, but it seems Poles are unsurprisingly most at ease holidaying in a safe and homogeneous environment, with the reduced costs of a domestic resort. Also, many Poles continue to prefer to travel by car to their holiday destination. In mid-December, the American Congress agreed to sell the strategic HIMARS surface-to-surface rocket system to Poland. The deal was initially estimated to cost Warsaw $655 million, and it includes 20 rocket launchers. This is going to be second only to the Patriot missile system as the largest purchase of the Polish army in recent times. The rocket's range is estimated at 300 kilometres. And that's all we got time for here at Poland Daily Business. I'm John Carter. Now it's over to Alexander Wierzierski.
Poland Daily Business Edition. Tonight our guest is Marcin Roszkowski of Jagiellonian Institute and businessalert.pl portal. Sir, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Well, we'll talk tonight about radioactive issue of Polish nuclear energy.
Actually, the decision about the
right, because there is none, so there is only radiation around, and the attempts to invest in this sector are like at least 40 years old. We started the nuclear plant in the north of the country in 1980s. That was exactly the same design as in Chernobyl, or maybe anyway, Russian.
So actually, that was good news that we have not completed the project.
Right. Then, previous government had a special manager paid by 100,000 Polish zlotys a month to produce the design. They didn't even choose the place where the potential nuclear plant may be located. And right now we are still at the debate. Do we want one? Do we don't want one? How much money it costs? So still mulling in place.
So the bad news is that we have already spent over $1 billion in the last couple of years designing, planning, preparing the site of the plant. But actually, what is in the strategy of the government? There has been a draft strategy presented during last month. What is in the strategy is also the atomic energy is also already and also placed in the strategy. The consultations will end 15th of January, but the government is very happy to have atomic energy within Polish energy mix. Actually, what is the problem is that the typical old design of nuclear power plants has these two problems. First of all, you cannot foresee the capex of this investment and also the timeline of the construction. So these benchmarks are not met, and actually it's very hard to plan how this or these plants could be also financed and built. what is the hope for the energy mix are probably the modular reactors. The process of commercialization of these plants is on its way. It will take a couple of years, but generally we need the atomic energy in mid of 30s. So generally that's the dilemma of the project.
15 years to go, maybe 17 years to go. Not that much time.
No, so for building the old design, the time is already up because we need to have been starting the construction like 10 years ago, but it has not happened. So yeah, the atomic energy in Poland is still on its way. The plants are there, but generally there's a gap in the in energy production. There will be a gap in the mid of 30s because the lignite plants will be running out of lignite. So there will be a demand for energy, and something needs to fill the gap. The offshore wind is not everything that can help.
Yeah, on solar in Poland or photovoltaics, you also cannot count, especially in winter. Half of the year is low saturation of the sunrise in this country.
There is no good answer for the energy sector anywhere. Nobody goes only with solar or only with nuclear or only with wind or only with coal. Kind of a mix of these technologies is required. Also fueled by natural gas as a balancing power, but generally, what needs to be done, a strategy that is doable.
Yes, that atomic plant is generally very expensive venue. We know that Chinese are doing it in average 4 to 5 years from start to end of this investment. The Koreans are doing that in 8 to 10, but that's a different sort of approach. And actually, the Korean companies are delivering the atomic plants in budget and in time, which is quite an achievement in the world. You mentioned this modular reactors, but the price of nuclear power out of this small modular reactors will be more expensive than from the big plants.
What is actually important when we talk about nuclear is that, first of all, it's zero emission, so it fits perfectly in the energy and climate policies of the European Union. But generally, the modular, all the normal traditional power plants are very expensive when you compare the prices of the energy produced by them. When we have the CO2 emissions as such a high price, high level, the nuclear energy is very expensive, despite how we choose the technology.
But on the other side is that we know it will be delivered over 30 years at a constant rate.
The problem is the technologies in the energy sector are changing very rapidly, and when we actually building a nuclear power plant is an investment for 50 or 60 years. So setting a large portion of the energy mix and freezing it with one technology on fixed prices for 50 years is actually pretty dangerous because we are not flexible when adjusting. Now we know how we can, put renewables at a certain price. The lifetime is 20 years. We know how gas plants work. We know how coal plants work. But generally, now building something that will last for 50 or 60 years in one technology is quite a hazard.
So maybe it makes sense to connect to something that already exists. The late Jan Kulczyk, the businessman that died in 2014, was involved in a project linking the Ukrainian nuclear power plant to Polish system. And is it a time to return to this idea?
I don't know if it's convenient for Poland to have the energy sources outside of our borders.
If it will be cheaper than ours?
But temporarily it will be cheaper. All our neighbors have the energy costs lower than Poland. So opening the borders for importing energy is one of the actually policies that are happening. We have imported in 2016 3 terawatts of energy, last year 6, and this year will be probably around 12. So it's a huge increase in the imports.
But it depends how you look at it. If you look at it from the point of view of the energy producers in Poland, well, the opening the borders may not be great. If you look from the point of view of our exporters that are selling products abroad and bringing cash to our economy.
I'm looking just from the perspective of the clients, of actually the whole economy and the households, because these are the main recipients of the price.
The lower prices?
The lower price, the better. Actually, the 4 utilities are in serious trouble because of the policies, internal and external, and taking their under consideration is also important. But generally, at the end, the consumers will react to the prices given, and the prices are rising. So all the impulses to lower them are welcome.
Okay, so we'll see.
Sad to say, but that's the situation we are in.
Will the consumers finally go to their own energy production?
It is very attractive, and they will. If you have, I don't know, you're producing furniture outside of big cities, and you have some plots behind you, on the other side of your fence, you can install PV, you can install onshore wind, and try to go off grid.
Block some river, make a turbine,
yes.
Check how much it delivers.
Yeah, but generally that's the impulse to do that is is on the table, and it will be growing because of the rising prices of the CO2,
which are rising sort of artificial way, stimulated by ETS or European system.
That's the decision made in 2007 and 8 and 6, and so we are just consuming this decision now.
Well, we'll see then. Thank you very much. Marcin Roszkowski of Jagiellonian Institute and businessalert.pl portal was our guest, and that was it for tonight's Poland Daily Business.